Hi friends, welcome to episode. Seriously, Kiva? Stop knocking the tripod. Hi friends, welcome to episode 33 of the Quirky Monday Craftcast. My name is Kalisha and you can find me anywhere online as Nadira Tani. I'm coming to you today from my home in Central Florida where it is a beautiful day. It is quite nice. Today is Monday, April 2nd. So this past weekend was Easter weekend, so if you celebrated, happy Easter to you. I was able to spend the weekend at Oakwood University, which is my alma mater in Huntsville, Alabama. We had our homecoming or alumni weekend, as we call it, and I'll talk about that a little bit later because I'm still riding high on the joy of reconnection and reunion. Like, the joy is strong. So I have a couple different projects that I want to share with you today, and I guess we can just jump right into it. I don't think there's anything else that I need to say at the beginning. I mean, thanks thanks for coming to my channel today. No, if you're a new viewer or returning viewer, thank you so much for spending time with me. I appreciate you so very much. And let's get into the makings. So I have 3 finished objects to show you today. One is a knitting project, the other 2 are sewing. So if you remember, in my last episode, I was talking about how I needed to sew my skirt for alumni weekend because I wanted to wear a handmade skirt for church. And at that time, I had not started it. You'll be happy to know that I was successful in making said skirt and wearing the skirt. It fit wonderfully. If anything, I might need to take the waistband in just like a smidge. And well, let me just show it to you. So I'm going to show it, and I'm also going to like insert a picture, excuse me, a picture or a video or something so that you can see the skirt on. But this is just a simple floor length, a simple floor length gathered skirt. I am so proud of myself. Look, first of all, look at this back seam. Wait, where is it? I can't find it. Oh, there it is. Like, it just blends in so well. Even though it's like the pattern isn't matched perfectly, it's matched enough that it's like incognito almost. And look at that beautiful zipperage. So proud of myself. So let's see, lessons learned with making this skirt. I purchased 3 yards of fabric from House of Mamiwata on Etsy, and I decided that I only need 2 yards to make this skirt, so I went and cut off a yard so that I would have some of this left over to make bags for my Etsy shop. In hindsight, it wasn't even hindsight. It was like in the midst of making this skirt, I realized that in order for me to get like sufficient gather, to get enough gathers to where I like how much there is, I need at least 2.5 yards. So that's definitely a good thing for me to know because I plan to make more skirts. There's not, like if you look closely, there's not a whole lot of gathering along that waistband. So it felt like it fits very straight-ish. There's a little bit of gathering, but yeah. But I'm so proud. There is a split in the back to make it easier to walk in, and the dress was so comfortable. The fabric, this fabric has a really nice weight to it. So it wasn't like blowing all over the place, which is another beast to deal with. But yeah, so that is my finished skirt. It was, oh, I loved it. I love this skirt. So there will definitely be more skirts in this style in my future because I find them so comfortable to wear. Lovely. The next finished object, I think I mentioned it in my last episode that I wanted to make, yes I did. I mentioned that I wanted to make this pattern and I wanted to make the small one. Then I looked at the actual measurements and that small bag is 8 inches by 10 inches. What am I supposed to put in that teeny tiny thing? So I went with the large bag, which isn't that much bigger. It's 9 inches by 12 inches. So I made one of the large bags. And I just realized I sewed these straps wrong. Oh well. So let me show you the bag and then I will give you some backstory on it. So this is the bag that I made. So yeah, I noticed just now that those straps are much wider. So I folded my straps too many times, but it works just the same. So the original idea for this bag was actually for, we'll just turn it inside out. My original plan was, instead of how I have the brown and the yellow, it was going to be this and the yellow. But then I ran into a hiccup when I did not have enough of this yellow fabric to do the straps. So then I had to go to the store and buy contrast fabric to do the straps. So then I was like, well, let me just make the bag out of this, because this is like a duck cloth, so it's much stronger than this fabric. And this is just a dashiki panel that I got from the sewing studio in Maitland. I'm sorry, my nose is itching. So I decided to do the bag this way. So we have the duck cloth main fabric, the dashiki print for the pockets, and then duck cloth straps. And the pattern as it's written is not lined. So it's just raw on the inside. And I didn't really like that, especially since I make bags and all of my bags are always lined. I like how finished it is when you don't have any raw edges. So I decided to use the part that I had cut from my original outer main fabric as a lining. So I'll put in a picture of how the bag looked when I attached the lining, because by the time I got to that point in the bag, I was totally freestyling. The construction was pretty simple. It's very simple, very straightforward. When I first started the pattern, I actually went online and I was reading reviews of it, and a bunch of people were talking about how it was really confusing and they didn't like the pattern and it wasn't well written. So it made me a little nervous. Anyway, I looked at the reviews and a bunch of people were complaining about it, about the pattern and how it wasn't as simple as it was like made up to be. So it made me a little bit nervous. But then when I got into making the bag, it's actually very simple. So I don't know what they were talking about. Made sense to me, but maybe it's because I make bags on a regular basis that I kind of like could see where they were going. Whatever. But I definitely am going to make another one of these. One of my friends that I saw during homecoming weekend asked me if I could make like a big one, like maybe, I think she wanted it to be like this wide and maybe like this tall, so she can just like chunk all of her stuff in it. So we're going to be working on like designing that bag for her. Yeah. So what other modifications did I make? Okay, so major modification, lining it. Another major modification, it is an open bag. So the pattern has you cut pieces for like a top here and put in a zipper, and I didn't feel like doing that, so I didn't. The end. So yeah, I carried this all weekend. It's a good size. I do want to make it a little bit bigger just because I'm a big bag lady. Yeah. I got lots of compliments on it. It worked really nicely with everything. So that is my second finished object. Put this over to the side. My last finished object is my Seaforth hat. This is a pattern by Carrie Westerman, and I knit this for the reknit cow that's being hosted by Nikki of Tea and Possibilities. I knit this, what, maybe 2 years ago, out of an acrylic yarn. This one is the Succulent Fibers 70% superwash Blueface Leicester, 30% Tussa Silk, and it is the color Strawberry Thrift. Now, this pattern kind of threw me for a loop in certain places. Primarily the yarn overs. And if you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen my post to the knitting hive mind asking for help with yarn overs, because let's get a close-up here. All right, so we have essentially 4 different yarn overs. You have oh gosh, these are so small. That's one right there, and that's one. These are both yarn overs that would happen either between 2 knit stitches, or, okay, it's either knit, yarn over knit, or purl, yarn over knit. That's these. Then on this side, you have another 2 yarn overs. This one is a knit, yarn over knit, and then this one is a knit, yarn over purl. So my problem was the knit, yarn over purl yarn overs are so much bigger than all the rest of the yarn overs, and the general consensus is it has to do with specifically the tension, like the way that I tension the yarn as a continental knitter. I even, when I was in Huntsville, I went by a yarn shop and I was talking to the owner, and I was explaining to her the problem. Of course, I didn't have the hat with me to show her because that would have been too much, like, right? But she also said that it may have a lot to do with my tension. So when I was knitting this, the point where I made the video on Instagram asking for suggestions and tightening up that yarn over, I was like to here. So then in all of the following rows, I tried all kinds of things, guys. I tried wrapping the yarn the other way and then knitting through the back loop, still the same size. I tried wrapping the yarn the other way and then knitting through the back loop on the next row. The yarn over was still the same size. I tried knitting English, and somehow my yarn over was still the same size. I even tried, Norwegian purling. Didn't help. Every single thing I tried, that yarn over is still ginormous. So I haven't blocked this yet. So I'm hoping that it'll kind of even out in the block, like when I block it. I mean, I don't think that it's going to even out that much, to be honest. So, but when the whole thing is done, because all of the yarn overs, all of the yarn overs in that particular row are like that, it looks like a design element. So we're going to go with that. If it doesn't come out in the blocking, then at least all of the yarn overs are consistent. So yeah, this is how much yarn I have left. I'm considering making it into a pom-pom because I don't have anything else to do with this. So that might end up being a pom-pom. Oops. But yeah, that is finished. It took me a whopping 9 days to finish this pattern. So yes, if you have a ball of worsted weight yarn and you want a hat made out of it, I would definitely say this hat is a very good go-to. It has just a little bit of lace. The pattern repeat is 4 rows, and it's super simple, like a very, very easy hat to do. Yeah, really good impact for such a little bit of work. I did put, I think you do 10 repeats of the lace pattern in the body before you do the decreases. In my hat, I think I did 12 repeats so that I could have it a bit more slouchy for all of this. So that's all of my not works in progress. That's all of my finished objects. And now we can talk about works in progress. I really hope me rubbing my nose like this is not getting on your nerves. It's getting on my nerves, but my nose is just twitchy today. Like, what's going on? Ah, bug, go away. On to works in progress. So, the first work in progress, no surprise to you if you have been here for more than a couple episodes, is my new jelly bean socks. Yes, people, they are still on the needles, but oh my gosh, did that bug go in my hair? It was a mosquito. I got him. Anyway, before I was so rudely interrupted by that bug, the new jelly beans are still on my needles. Before we went to Alabama, I had maybe this much of the cuff knit. So I finished the cuff while we were in Alabama, and then all of this, like all of this leg bit, was in the car before it was my turn to drive home. So yeah, this is ready for the heel. So I'll do the heel, and then I think I did 72 rows on the first sock, 72 rows on the foot of the first sock, and then they'll be done. I'm so ready for these to be done. You guys don't even know. Actually, you might know, because I feel like every time I show these, I'm like, they need to be done. So yeah. Oh, gotta top up. I am drinking Buffalo Rock ginger ale, Southern Spice. It says, when ordinary won't do. I got this soda. I first had this soda when I lived in Huntsville, and it is a really good ginger ale. It's super strong, so I have to always drink it when it's like either with ice or it has been cooled. Otherwise, it burns so much going down. Ooh. I don't think there's anything else that I can really say about these socks. They're just plain vanilla, 64 stitches, 2.25 millimeter needle. The neon green is Sour Apple by Knit Pick Stroll. The jelly bean colorway is Red Heart, Heart and Soul. That's it. I'm gonna do a short row heel and then a rounded toe, and those babies will be done. The next work in progress that I have is just a cuff, and I had to wait to cast these on because these are going to be my stripy socks for the Stripy Socks Cal that Candace from Pin Feathers and Pearls is hosting, and that cal started on April 1st, so I had to wait to cast this on. So this part is Trekking Sport, and the colorway is Coral, and this is the yarn that my mom bought me from, what is the name of that yarn shop? I can't remember the name of the yarn shop, but it's in Delaware, and I'll put it at the bottom. But she was so nice to drive to the yarn shop like in the midst of the snow that they were having, and she bought me 2 balls of sock yarn, which I'm super excited about. So this color is going to be the heels, toes, and cuffs. And then this color, this is going to be the body of the socks. It is knit 1, crochet 2, tie-dye socks, skinny stripes in the Coral Sea colorway. It's an 80-20 superwash wool nylon mix, and those are going to be the stripes. I really like it. Yeah, so that's going to be them together. So since I finished the cuff, I'm going to try the weaving in as you go method when I change the yarn colors. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it goes well. Yeah. So that's those. Oh, the pattern that I'm going to be following is the Exceedingly Vanilla Socks pattern by Andy of 10,000 Stitches. And I'll put the title and her full name at the bottom of the screen so that you can find that, you know, find that later if you want to knit those socks. Yeah, I was interested in testing, or not testing, but like trying her pattern, because watching her podcast, you know, she talks about how she's, after, you know, making so many pairs of socks, she's kind of come up with this recipe that works best for her. So I wanted to try it out. You know, maybe get away from my like short row wrap and turn heel. I do want to try a, what are they called? German short rows. I want to try a German short row heel sock. So maybe that will be the next one after the Exceedingly Vanilla ones. So those are the only 2 works in progress that I've had any action on them. I do still have my slouchy braiding party hat that's on the needles. I didn't really work on it for real over the weekend. I think I did a couple rows in the car. I also took my green cardigan with me to Huntsville, but I didn't work on it at all. I didn't even take it out of the bag. Yeah. So that's everything for works in progress. So we can go on to maker plans. So while we were in Huntsville, my best friend and his wife did their gender reveal of their baby, and they're having a little boy, and he is due in July. So of course I now am compiling a list of things that I want to make for this baby, and I was thinking, because I live in Alabama, they do get winter, so I'll probably make him like a little cardigan or something like that, in like 3 to 6 month size, so that he can wear it like when it starts getting cooler. And I definitely want to make definitely 1, if not more, baby hats for him. Specifically, I want to make a hat and diaper cover set, like that are shaped, or not shaped, that are baseball, because my friend Ricky loves baseball. They had like their gender reveal was like baseball themed, so I think it will be super cute and very appropriate for them to have like a little newborn set with the hat that looks like a baseball, and diaper cover that looks like a baseball. So if they do want to do newborn pictures, there you go. What else did I want to make him? I think that's all I really had on my list. Definitely the baseball, hat and diaper cover set. I want to try my hand at baby socks. I've never made any baby socks, so I'll probably try making a couple pairs of those. And the little baby sweater. So unless, and that's going to be like my list, unless they specifically are like, we want this particular thing for the baby. But if left up to me, that's the direction that I'm going. Also, I wouldn't really, this isn't something that I'm making per se, I guess you could call it, but whatever. The next thing on my maker plans, and I put it in quotes because the next thing is a poem assignment that I got over the weekend. So I like to ask my friends to give me poem assignments, like write a poem using these words, or write this type of poem, or this theme, or something like that. So the poem assignment that I got this weekend was, or is, to write a positive poem about anxiety. So I'm going to be trying to write that. I was rolling some ideas around in my head as I was driving last night, but that's going to be a tough one, because every time I think about, you know, my struggles with anxiety, it is from a very like negative point of view. Like, I wish I didn't, I don't like you, I need you to go away. So being able to flip it and see the positive side of having anxiety, that's going to be an interesting piece to explore. That's pretty much it for the maker plans. Just baby makes, hard poems to write. So that will take us into stashquisitions. Now, as I mentioned earlier, when we were in Huntsville, I did go to a local yarn shop. Now, this particular shop is called Fiber Artworks, and it was my local yarn shop when I lived there. So it's been there for a while. She's a really established shop. She'd actually moved to a new location since I moved away. So we were able to go. I was able to, you know, purchase some things, which I'll show you. But what made the trip, or what made the visit to this shop all the more special, is that when she was in her old location, she let me yarn bomb the front of her store. So I have some pictures, and I'll put them up so that you can see them. So it was like my first yarn bomb installation, and it was really great. So when we went into the store, you know, she greeted us and everything like that, and didn't recognize me, of course. And I was walking around, you know, looking at yarn and everything, and then she asked me, she said, you know, are you a knitter or crocheter? So I was telling her that I do both, and I was wearing my puppy love shawl, so we started talking about that. They were really impressed with the design of it, so that was like a super awesome encouragement for me, and a kick in the pants to hurry up and get the pattern together. But that was a really cool experience to have that positive reinforcement on my design. But so when we were talking, you know, I was telling her about the pattern and everything like that, and I told her, I was like, you probably don't recognize me, but years ago I yarn bombed the front of your store. And then you could see like the realization of who I was, and she remembered me, like came into her face, and it was great. And you know, we all chatted, talked for a little bit, caught up, like what's your Ravelry name, like connected on Ravelry and everything like that. So that was really awesome. She offered to do a knit along for the puppy love shawl when it does come out, so that's super great. So I really need to like kick myself into high gear behind this puppy love shawl. Um, but yeah, so these are the things that I got from her shop. I specifically went in wanting bright colors, and I wrote like on my wish list yellow yarn because I don't have a lot of bright colors. Um, and when you look at my sock yarn drawer, it's so dark. So I was like, you know what? No blues, no greens, no like watery colors, no darker colors. We are here for the bright ones. So I came away with this. And this is, can you see? Yeah, you can see a little bit. This is Shalimar Yarns in the Curry colorway. It is 100% superwash merino, 450 yards. So there it is. It is super squishy. I love the yellow. It's not a flat yellow. It does have some tonality. Yeah, you can see it a little bit there. It's a little darker right in there. So it does have some tonality. And I was between this one and what was that other brand? I think it was a Manos del Uruguay. I think that was the other. No, it was Alegria. So I was between this one and a ball of Alegria. And that one had like yellows and like kind of greens blended into it. But at the end, I was like, you know what? I think I just want this one. So I went and got this. I also picked up, get off my yarn, you little bug, a ball of, hello blowing out, a ball of nature spun wool. This is 100% wool. It is non-superwash. I have made a pair of socks out of this yarn before. It doesn't have any nylon in it or anything like that. But the reason that I'm kind of okay with using this for socks, it's because of my experience with the first one that I have. Now those socks, I did I think it was called My Little Shamrocks, My Little Clovers, My Little Shamrocks, something like that. But they're my shamrock socks. And after wearing them so much in shoes, the bottom of the socks have started felting. And they just feel so much more like squishy and comfortable because it's felting along like the ball of my foot. And they're just so much more comfortable now. So with this, I kind of want to just do like a vanilla sock. Yeah, so that I can have another squishy pair of felted socks. Because it's non-superwash, you definitely will felt this if it gets into the laundry. So I have to be very careful when I do wear those, the clover socks or the shamrock socks. Because I have to make sure that I do not leave them like in the bathroom or anything like that, because my husband will just toss them in the laundry and we will lose him to the struggle. So these are the yarns that I purchased from Fiber Artwork in Huntsville, Alabama. And then she is so awesome. She gifted me these. Can you see? They're little origami stars made into stitch markers in this handy dandy vial carrying apparatus. So she gave this to me as a gift and I really appreciate it. They're super cool. So I figure if I do like a pattern sock on here, of course I'll use these as the stitch markers on it. But yeah, that was my Fiber Artworks haul. And let's see, was there anything else I wanted to say about her shop? I'll put a link to her website and her Ravelry page down below. So just in case you find yourself in Huntsville, Alabama, go check out Fiber Artworks, or Fiber Artwork. It's owned by Miss Nina, and she's super sweet and so knowledgeable about like knitting and crochet and everything like that. Yes. see. The only other things that I purchased, aside from the yarn, like souvenir wise, I got a couple Huntsville souvenirs, and of course I had to get my Oakwood University stuff. So I have this shirt. Lamar purchased, he got quite a few more shirts than I did, because I feel like I have like quite a few Oakwood shirts and like hoodies and stuff like that, but he didn't have many. So he went there like, I need to get my Oakwood stuff. I have this shirt, Oakwood University Forever, and I also have my first class shirt. My class, I was the graduating class of 2008. We were the first graduating class of Oakwood University, meaning when at the time Oakwood College basically upgraded to university, we were the first class to graduate from Oakwood University. So whoop, whoop. And that was the class of 2008. So yes, so during our alumni weekend or homecoming weekend, the Sunday, we have a block party, vendors market kind of thing, where people can come and sell their different products or whatever, food, snacks, clothes, music, etc. So I did not have a booth. However, next year, or I don't know, whenever the next time is we're gonna make it up to alumni, I definitely want to have a booth, and I will be able to, you know, sell my bags, because that would be really cool. Anyway, one of the people selling products during the market was my friend Christine, and her full name is Christine Jobson, and she is an awesome vocalist. So we got her CD, Christine Jobson by Faith. It's a collection of hymns and Negro spirituals, and she is really amazing. So Lamar and I got a copy for ourselves, and we have another copy that we're going to give to our church. You know, because you got to represent your fellow Oakwoodites in your home church. So this is my friend. So if you are interested in getting some like gospel music, hymns, or Negro spirituals, or anything like that, if that's something that interests you, I will put her website information down below so you can go check her out. She is amazing. Just every once in a while I feel like I can sing, and then I hear people like Christine, and I'm like, okay, I'll just sit over here and knit. I'll just give me the yarn. That's what I do. So I'm so proud of her. So proud. And the last things that I'm going to show you are my Huntsville souvenirs, because evidently I can't go anywhere and not buy postcards now. I have this one, which is from the Huntsville Museum of Art. This is a, what do you call it? Letterpress? Yeah. It is letterpress printed, so you can actually feel the texture of the printing on it. And that's the back. It's really pretty, and I love the texture of the paper. Oh look, yes. Printed by hand on our 1914 Chandler and Price letterpress. This is the Green Pea Press in Huntsville, Alabama. Oh, they have a website too, so I'll put their website down below as well. So if you want to, I don't know, buy some letterpress stuff, there you go. And then these two, I got these from the Huntsville Visitor Center. And this is a watercolor painting of the Von Braun Civic Center and Big Spring Park. The Von Braun Center is where we have our Sabbath church services and like all the concerts and everything that happened during the weekend. And you know, everybody can walk around in the park, and it's just so beautiful. Like, it's so beautiful. And yeah, fun fact, when I lived in Huntsville, I participated in, I think they were called love bombs. I want to say they were called love bombs, but it was put together by Meredith of, at the time she was One Sheepish Girl, but now she is One Social Girl. So she put together this huge yarn bombing day, and you made little hearts and, you know, put them around your city. So I put all of my hearts around Big Spring Park, and I actually yarn bombed that bridge. So, fun fact. This one is one of the sides of the square in downtown Huntsville. So the square is basically like the streets that are around the courthouse downtown. And yeah, it's so cool for me to like see paintings like this and know that I have gone in that store. Like I've shopped in there, and I've taken pictures of the front of that church for a bulletin where I needed like a really nice door for the front of my church bulletin. So I took pictures of that church's front door. And I have so many memories of Huntsville that when I get into the city, I'm just like flooded by them, and I just want to like just stay in that like nostalgia, if that makes sense. You know, you just want to soak it all in. So those are my new postcards for my collection. I'm gonna need to somehow like compile all of my postcards together, because I don't know what I'm doing with all these postcards. I just can't not buy them. And then the last thing that I got from the Huntsville Visitor Center is a lapel pin. Let's see if you can see that. It says, "Huntsville, we've got space." So Huntsville is the home to the Space and Rocket Center. And as a child, I wanted to go to space camp there so badly, but I never got to. It's okay. But as you drive into Huntsville, you come down the Highway 565, you pass right by the Space and Rocket Center, and there's huge rocket outside. It's called Rocket City. There's just so much space related stuff in the city. But it's a beautiful place. So I was happy that I was able to get this pin for my collection. Huntsville, we've got space. And that's everything that I purchased, I think. Oh, I think it's the ginger ale that's making my nose itch, because it's real bubbly. I think that's what's going on, because it wasn't itching and being all crazy before I started drinking this ginger ale. See, I told you this stuff is strong. I wasn't ready. Okay. So, before I get into life and whatnot, which will be the last section, I'm not going to have black fibers, black threads this week, because life and whatnot is kind of big. I want to take a moment and announce that Melody of the Melody Crochet podcast and I are going to be co-hosting a CAL. Oh my gosh, this is my first CAL, and I'm like freaking out a little bit on the inside, if I'm honest. But it is going to be called the As Seen on TV CAL. Now let me get the details so I get everything right. So the As Seen on TV CAL, that's going to also be the hashtag. It is going to run from April 6th to June 1st. So it's going to be a 2-month CAL. And we are allowing whips as long as they are less than 50% completed, of course. So the Melody is going to host the chatter thread in her Ravelry group, and I will have the finished objects thread in my Ravelry group. So of course you'll have to be like members of both to qualify for any I almost said surprises. No, it's just prizes. So you will want to be a member of both groups. And when you post your finished object, we would need a picture of the finished object and then the picture of the inspiration. So let's talk a little bit of about the inspiration. So this cowl, oh, it's going to be crochet and knitting, so whatever your poison, you're good. This cowl is going to be to either recreate a crocheted or knitted object that you've seen on TV or movie, or create something that is inspired by something you've seen on TV or movie. Me personally, I plan to make an Afghan based on one that I saw in the background of the movie South Side with You. I was watching the movie, and of course, you know, when you're a yarn crafter, if there is ever knitting or crochet that passes by the screen in a movie, you see it. Just like if you watch Black Panther and you saw Nakia's rap, like all the knitters and crocheters were like. So yes, I will be making an Afghan based on that pattern. I took pictures of the screen, so I'm going to be working out like what the blocks look like. So you can do something like that, or you can do like Melody was talking about, the idea of doing a sweater or a cardigan inspired by Luna Lovegood. So you would have to, if you do decide to do it like that, or either way, you would have to do a picture of your finished object and a picture of the inspiration. So for me, it would be a finished object photo of my Afghan plus the one of the Afghan from the movie. So that is that. I hope that made sense. Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I think I said everything. Yes, so April 6th to June 1st, we're going to be making things that we saw on TV. Yes. Yeah, so there will be links to my Ravelry group and Melody's Ravelry group. Melody's group is called the Melody Crochet Podcast group, I believe, and mine is the Quirky Monday Craftcast. So if you search either one of those titles in the groups tab on Ravelry, you will find us, and then go ahead and join in the chatter, you know, talk about what you want to do, what you've seen on TV. I kind of have started this thing where whenever I'm watching TV and if somebody is knitting like on the television, I'm always like taking out my phone and taking a picture of it, like posting it on Instagram, like knitting in the wild. And the funny thing, I have seen a couple cartoons that have knitting. Like there was knitting on Rugrats, and there was knitting on Bob's Burgers. And I took pictures of all these things, and they just made me laugh. So anything like that, chat it up. If you would like to donate a prize for this for this crochet and knit along, feel free to get in touch with either me or Melody. And yeah, so guys, this is my first cow. Oh my goodness, I feel like a grown-up in this podcasty world. Like, yay, I'm a big kid now. So yes, that is everything about the As Seen on TV cow. And that will bring us to the last part of today's podcast, which is life and whatnot. So, as I have already mentioned throughout this episode, this past weekend, I was at my alma mater, Oakwood University in Alabama, just spending time reconnecting with classmates and friends and my poetry club. This year was my 10-year reunion for my class, and it was also the 25th reunion for my poetry club. So milestones all around. I didn't do a whole lot with my class over the weekend. I took the class picture. You know, like hung around, talked, chatted, did that a little bit. But the main bulk of my experience this weekend was with my poetry club. Because the poetry club, it's called Art and Soul, was such a integral part of my life at Oakwood. I joined the first semester my freshman year. I actually found out about Oakwood before I came to not Oakwood. I actually found out about Art and Soul when I came to Oakwood as a high school senior for college days. And I heard this guy do a poem, and I asked him if there was a poetry club, and he told me about Art and Soul. So when I came in as a freshman, I was looking for Art and Soul. And I joined my freshman year, and I was with them. Like, I was diehard Art and Soul for all 4 years as being a student. Then after graduation, I was still in Huntsville, so I stayed active with the club after I graduated. And there's something to be said about when you are writing poetry and you are pulling these emotions out of yourself. You're talking and exploring different feelings and emotions and things that you're going through and different situations that you're going through. When you are constantly sharing all of that stuff with a group of people, the bond that you build is insane. It's so strong. It is so, for somebody who writes, I am at a loss for words. That's how much Art and Soul has done for me. So we had a meetup on Friday. So we got together. It was like everybody was just getting into town. So we met up, hung out, listened to each other's poems, just were in each other's presence, and that was really, really great. And then Saturday night was our show, and the show was mind-blowing. I performed a piece where I mixed 2 old poems and a new poem, and people afterwards came up and were telling me that they really appreciated how I just put all of the emotions out there when I'm on stage. To me, it seems like it's a very, not painful, but it's like a cracking open, like when I am honest in the poem, and it's everything that I feel and everything that I mean to say, and I don't hold anything back. I cried. I am a crier. And but it was so reinvigorating to be with my family again. It was so like recentering, almost like you leave school or you leave that environment and you're going out into the real world and you're being an adult and you've got all these responsibilities and you have all of these things that are pulling your energy. And at least for me, I stopped writing, and I kept telling myself over and over that I wanted to get back into writing, that I wanted to start writing again, but I never committed to it. So getting back in to that space, even for just a couple days, or not even a couple days, for a couple hours in that space with those people who are they are so talented and so inspirational to me. It made me really want to write, and I can feel like the words running around in my head like they used to, and so I just have to make the conscious commitment to do this thing. Over, I think it was Christmas, I bought this book from this store called Five Below. It's called Write the Poem. And it's basically like a journal, and it's full of prompts. So it gives you like word associations, write a poem about this, write a poem about this, and you've got associations and stuff, and it's got different ones on every page. So I bought this and I was like, oh, in 2018, I'm going to write a poem a day. It's April and I haven't taken this out of the bag, like the shopping bag from Christmas, until today. So this is the beginning of National Poetry Month. This is, I'm still riding the emotional and inspirational high of being with my poetic family. I am committing to this. Hold me to it. So I don't know how I want to share my poems on here. I might do like a weekly video reading the different poems. I think I'm definitely going to share the poem that I read at the show at the end of this video, so you guys can experience that as well. But yeah, this is a thing that is needed in my life. I remember having a time where I could not do anything but write. And it was like writing was that thing that was keeping me going, and Art and Soul was that foundation that I was sitting on, even though I couldn't see anything else for the depression that I was dealing with. And even though, and even now, like when I was speaking with my old friends, and we were reminiscing of the days like gone past, like when I was going through all this stuff, and I didn't realize how big it was. You know, I thought that everything that I was feeling was just right here, that was just in my head, but it swallowed me, and it started reaching out to the people around me. And some of my friends were like, you know, I didn't know how to handle that, so I had to leave you alone. So now in this place that we have all grown and matured and learned things from life, and now we're able to say, I know that I could have handled this better. I know that these are different things that I could have done. So I'm just glad that we have all come to this place where I know now, God forbid I fall into a hole like that again, I know that the people around me see it. You know, they see me. And when I tell you, like, so many of my friends in Art and Soul expressed how concerned they were for my like physical safety from back then. And that was something that I never even realized then, you know. And to be honest, that is one of the lies, one of the biggest lies that depression tells you, is that you're alone and nobody sees you. And oh, that is a lie. And I know, at least speaking from where I stood, I know when I was standing in that place and all I felt was the all-encompassing solitude and isolation, I couldn't see that I was actually surrounded by people who were watching me, you know, who were like fearful, like, am I gonna come back to my room and find my roommate's body, like to that level? And, you know, being surrounded by people that said, hey, no, you need to go to this counselor. And even though I was like, no, I'm good, I'm fine, like these were the people who dragged me, not even joking, dragged me to the counselor saying, no, I'm not letting you go. So if this is something that you are dealing with, you know, if you feel alone, I know that it's hard, and hard is an understatement. It is like pulling out your own teeth to step away from what you're feeling and really look at the things around you. Because I remember not being able to see things, you know, going outside and having to remind myself the color of the sky is blue, the color of the trees is green, like reminding myself of these things, because when I looked out, everything was just nothing, you know. I know that my saying that you're not alone in whatever your struggle is, sometimes it feels like just words, but it's not just words. And sometimes you might need to talk to someone who is not around you. And feel free to send me a message. If you want to send me a message on Instagram at Nadiratani, or you want to send me an email, I'm nadiratani@aol.com. Like, it's easy to find me. And we can talk, you know. I can listen to whatever it is that's going on in your head. You can just verbal blah, 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 it out, you know, because sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes you need to just unload everything so that you can take a breath and so that you can get up again. And the most important thing that you can keep doing in this life is just to keep getting up. I tell myself all the time that quitting is not an option. You know, coming from a place where quitting was all I wanted to do, and coming through that and knowing what that bottom feels like, I never want to do that again. And I don't want anyone else to feel that. You know, I don't want anyone else to know what it's like to hurt inside so much that you don't know how to not hurt, to feel like I don't want anyone else to feel like they can't. You know? Does that make sense? I don't want anyone else to feel like, God, it's okay if you don't wake me up. I don't want anyone else to feel like nobody sees me. I don't want anyone else to feel like I don't matter. I'm not worth the ground I'm standing on. I don't want anyone else to feel like they're not worth the air they breathe, because we are all worth it so much. And that is definitely something that was whispered to me this weekend, or reminding me this weekend that I am worth so much, and that people value me. And I think that's something that we don't hear enough. So, and also, this weekend was so emotional, guys. But it was so emotional in so many good ways. And I don't even know how to end whatever it was I was just talking about. We are all like stars. Sometimes at night I look up at the sky and, you know, I have my favorite constellations, those bright ones that you immediately see when you look up. Those are the bright spots, you know, in your life. But what you don't see is the millions and trillions of other stars that are there. That's me. I might not be the brightest star. I might not even have a name. I might not be a part of a recognized constellation. But I'm here. And my light is valuable. And in my side of the cosmos, I matter. And in your side of the cosmos, you matter. And in our collective cosmos, in our collective everything, our infinite, our world is such a small world, or a small word. Inside of our everything, our lights matter, and our lights are important. And sometimes it's hard to shine. Sometimes it is. Sometimes you feel like you're burning your fuel too fast just to keep the lights on. But sometimes that's just what you have to do for that time. Thank you for being a star in my cosmos. I love you. Okay. So I've taken a breath. And I'm going to read the poem that I shared at the Art and Soul show. Or the poems. There are technically 3 different poems, but I strung them together in an idea under the umbrella of love, or lessons love teaches us. Lessons love teaches us. I'm a spin-off African girl, half-blood, mixed-blood girl, master seed incubated in mama's womb girl, Master Christopher Tompkins' great-great-great-great-granddaughter girl. Got longer hair and lighter skin, spin-off African. See, I'm sick of hearing you a high yellow girl. Got no butt, but that's okay, girl. And if I get a tan, then I'd be looking like a black girl. But I'm just a spin-off African. But according to my fellow African Americans who speak about the way that I talk and carry myself according to how I was brought up, I don't quite fit your black mold. And I'm not sorry. I know the story of pain that stains my lighter skin. No, I'm not sorry for this heteroracial history, this mixed blood that blends to create the beautiful tint of skin that God saw fit to wrap me in. This is black pride, black love, love for strong-hearted Africans, sliding their culture closer to God above. Adonai, the ever-present Most High, mixed my tones of dust and a little bit of sand, swirled them together with his 2 blessed hands. So if I'm not black enough for you, let me smooth it out so you know my words are true. I'll be that spin-off African girl, that half-breed, mixed-seed girl till I cease to breathe, girl, because whether or not you truly believe, I'll be a spin-off African till I cease to breathe. I'm insecure, but I can't help it. My mind says move on, my heart lags behind. But I don't love you anymore. Yes, I do. I think loving you is wrong, baby. Ooh. I can't remember the last time I felt this way about somebody. You've done something to my mind, and I can't control it. But I don't love you anymore. Yes, I do. I think loving you is wrong, baby. Ooh. So I fell in love with the soldier who held me close in quiet moments and pushed me away in anger. He was dynamic, with the power of earthquakes and windstorms shaking the core of my world to and fro, shaking the core of my world and blowing my emotions to and fro. But I gave him my heart. Though he had been taught to follow orders, trust no one, and fight to survive alone, he had seen war, seen bombs and weapons, seen sheep led in to feed the soldiers, seen lifeless bodies crumpled by the roadways. He had felt death. He is a soldier. Though sometimes I saw the boy peeking out from behind his memories, and he would rest his head on my stomach, and he'd curl up in my arms, and sometimes he'd even let his wounds show. And I fell in love with that soldier, gave him a piece of my heart, a slice of myself, and he decided that he didn't want it. And I'm left wondering why in the hell I chose to love him. Never knew that love could hurt like this. Never thought I would, but I got this. Makes me feel so sad and hurt inside. Feel embarrassed, so I wanna hide. Silly me, I thought your love was true. Change my name to Silly Ibatu. Before I heal, it's gonna be a while. I know it's gonna be a while, child. Da-dee, dum-dee-dwee-dee, da-dee, dee-dee, dum-dee-dwee-dee. And I hope it's not too late, too late, too late, too late. Feeling insecure, love has got me sore. I don't want no more. You were the love I never saw coming. Even fought the realization because I believed that the strength of love was only proved by the depths of tears it sank you in and the tumult of storms it dragged you through. But you were calm waters, peaceful skies, clear nights. You are the soft breeze and patience that calmed my earthquaked and wind-torn world. You came quietly like nightfall, embraced me like night skies, kissed my forehead a million shooting stars, and I love you. My ever-present reminder of God's grace, my walking constellation. You are the brightness in the dark, the switch I reach for when my steps get unsteady, when the panic threatens, when the melancholy creeps in. You shine like Polaris. Repeat my reasons to smile like I repeat favorite stars like Beetlejuice, your husband, Bellatrix, your health, Mintaka, your creativity, Al-Nilam, Al-Natak, Regal, your family, safe. You are my safe place, my ever and always, my love, my rock, my strong arms and shoulders, my biggest blessings, my pillar. Thank you for loving me, for being my eyes when I couldn't see, for parting my lips when I couldn't breathe. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for loving me. For loving me.